Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Max, Chief Evangelist over here at Happily. And it never ceases to amaze me the ridiculous things that are now possible using HubSpot quoting when you're powering it with Quote Happily. I've just been shown a really wild, complex example of a customer doing graduated multi-year pricing and proration, which if you had asked me to do that with out-of-the-box HubSpot quoting, I'd probably curl up into a ball and run away. That ends up being something that's trivially easy to do with Quote Happily, apparently. So let me show you this really cool, complex example. And if you're a company that does like multi-year deals that have different sort of variables that affect the pricing, and you want to do graduated pricing with like discounts on year 1, 2, 3, whatever, yeah, this is going to be super helpful for you. And hopefully, if not anything, demonstrate some of the more extreme examples of pricing models that can be built using Quote Happily. I quite literally think almost anything is possible now in terms of what you can and cannot quote in HubSpot. So anyway, let me show you how this works. So in this scenario, okay, we are selling a product that is seat-based, and we sell it in multi-year deals exclusively, right? Which means we have a price for year 1, a price for year 2, a price for year 3. That all changes depending on how many seats someone's actually buying, right? And then the discounts get applied on year 1 and 2. There's a whole lot of like variables here, right? So let me show you how we accomplished it. So we built a couple of like rules in the background in Quote Happily, right? But what I want to show you is more so the experience that the sales rep has doing this, right? So I'm on a deal record here, and I've got a company that I'm selling to, Happily. And in our case, just to build on the story a little bit, Happily has spent X amount of money with us already. And because of that, they're going to get a discount on the first couple years of this multi-deal year that we're going to sell to them. So they come to us, they're going to say, hey, we need 50 seats of your software. We're going to do a 10-year term. What can you do for us? So first off, we need to determine what the discounting is actually going to be for them for the first 2 years. Now, this is something that's actually pretty easy, right? You can already do this with HubSpot, right? We've got this little graduated pricing card down here on the bottom left, and it has a field for year 1 pricing discount and year 2 pricing discount. And this is simply just getting calculated through a workflow that's running off the company, and it's setting deal records based on their company spend for what their discounting should be for year 1 and year 2, based on their yearly spend. Basically, is it over or under $1,500? Regardless of what our spend actually was, we have our discount amounts here, right? 0.25, so 25% for the first year, 10% for the second year, right? Now, how do we auto-generate a quote for 10 years that's going to take that into consideration? That's something you'd have to completely build manually, right? If you were just quoting out of the box in HubSpot. But thanks to Quote Happily, we can automate this entire thing and barely lift a finger as we do it. So I'm going to go create a new quote here. And you're going to see a bunch of different new Quote Happily features come into play. First thing I'm going to need to do is likely select my price book, just because I don't have any automation locking me into a price book right now. So I'm just going to use this US price book. All right. And very first thing that's happening here is a brand new feature that we have called prompt users, which is actually asking me some information before I can complete this quote for them. This is like our first step into guided selling inside of HubSpot using Quote Happily. It's asking me 2 things. How many dispatchers are they buying the software for? So in this case, it's equivalent to like seats. We're going to say they're getting it for 50, right? And then what is the term that you're selling at, right? And you'll notice this stuff is required for me to actually build the quote. I cannot build the quote unless I've given this information. And that's because this information is going to be used in the calculations that actually calculate the price of the different years of this product, right? So I'm going to go ahead and choose 10-year. We're doing a big one, right? So it's a 10-year deal. And now I could, if I really wanted to lock down this experience, I could run another automation here that would automatically add the right line item based on a rule that's set when we have known values for those properties. But in our case, we actually still have the step here of going in and actually choosing the package. And this might make sense. Maybe you have different types of package you could potentially sell that are different, that are priced differently depending on those variables you select above. But if you sell just one thing, you can use a rule to automatically drop this in, right? But I'm going to go ahead and select the product here, the year 1 package. Now what's going to happen is, due to some rules that we have set up in the background that are doing a number of different things, such as adding additional line items to the quote, right? It sees that first year product go onto there, and then it automatically adds each year's pricing onto the quote. So I've got full package year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And what you'll notice is that those packages have different discounted and calculated pricing for each one of those years, because the pricing is going to be calculated differently depending on the year that you're selling them of whatever product or service that you have. So here we can see that we're taking that number of dispatchers, right, which is how many seats they're actually buying, multiplying it by the list price, and then applying that discount for year 1, that discount for year 2, and we're getting separate line items for year 1 and year 2, and those prices are graduated, right? We're prorating that pricing here. And then we can see the original pricing for those 50 users kicks in for the years afterwards. The other thing here too is that it's automatically setting when those new pricings kick in and when each new year starts. So they'll have this first year due at payment, but then year 2 and year 3, those will become due 12, 24, 36, 48 months after that first payment. So those new quote amounts will start kicking in, right, as those years come along. So what's cool is I can come in here and hit publish quote, and we can take a look at the quote that it builds us. And here we can see the quote rendered for us. We can see everything that's due now, which is just the payment for year 1. And then we can see items due later, right? And it starts 12 months, 24, 36 after that initial payment, right? And so we can see here the second year pricing, which is slightly discounted. And then the regular pricing kicks in for each one of those multi-years after. And then we can see a future payment summaries here, right? Which again is just listing out all the different payments. And yeah, this seems redundant here because we have this up at the top as line items and then also down here. But you got to remember, you might have other things that are line items, maybe a first time onboarding fee and things like that aren't going to be part of a future payment schedule, which is why you're going to want to have this module down at the bottom that shows everything that's going to be future beyond what's due at signing at the beginning, right? But this is crazy. This is like something I never, ever thought HubSpot quoting would be able to do. And now it can, because of Quote Happily and all the creative things we're doing in the background with rules and things of that nature to be able to accomplish more complex pricing structures like this. Anyway, if you've got a complex pricing structure and you want to ask us how we would build that into HubSpot using the plethora of tools that we have available to us here with Quote Happily, let us know in the comment below. Shoot us a DM on LinkedIn or email us at care@hapily.com. We'd be happy to help you out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.